What's up, everybody? My name is Ryan Thomas, and welcome to the Thomas Take Sports Podcast, coming to you live from Buffalo, New York. And as I stated, I would be on live at 9 o'clock. We are a little bit tardy tonight, 9:38, obviously. But most of the people that listen to the show do listen to it on demand. They do not necessarily listen to it live. But those that do listen to it live, they're alerted the same way each and every time via Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. So here I am back again for another edition of the Thomas Take Sports Podcast. And as I alluded to today, earlier today, probably around noon, maybe around 1, I would be on to recap the NFL trade deadline. And at the time, I never thought that I would be talking about the Bills making a trade today in today's NFL trade deadline. The first few trades that hit the airwaves, so to speak, Jimmy Garoppolo being traded from the New England Patriots to the San Francisco 49ers. The 49ers send a second-round draft selection in the 2018 NFL Draft to the Patriots in exchange for the quarterback. And then, early in the trade deadline process today, the Miami Dolphins sent running back Jay Ajayi to the Philadelphia Eagles in exchange for a 2018 fourth-round pick. Most people, myself included, would say that that was a bit of a shocker. And then at 3:57 p.m. today, my team, your team, the team that everybody wants to hear my take on, apparently, because each and every video or 15-minute part podcast episode that I've done has grown exponentially. The last Thomas Take Sports Podcast Bills post-game show reached over 10,000 views. I want to send everybody a huge thank you for tuning in and for listening to my content each and every week that the Bills wrap up their games. But it doesn't stop there. I cover the Bills each and every week, almost every day, that I can get on the mic, get in the makeshift studio that I have in-house, and record yet another episode of the Thomas Take Sports Podcast. So the Buffalo Bills, to make a long story short here, to introduce the show, the Buffalo Bills, with 3 minutes left in the NFL trade deadline, sent a third-round selection in the 2018 NFL Draft and a seventh-round selection in the 2018 NFL Draft to the Carolina Panthers in exchange for Panthers wide receiver Kelvin Benjamin. And this was a trade that really shocked me. I did not see this trade coming. Those in the NFL world, in the NFL circles, did not see this coming. And especially the supporting cast of the Carolina Panthers, they did not see this coming. So this was a huge trade for the Buffalo Bills, a trade that was definitely up at a position of need. And there were so many fans, specifically my buddy Dale Race, who, not to call Dale out, but I understand it for sure. He felt as if the Bills needed to go out and make a trade for a wide receiver, someone on the Martavis Bryant, Terrell Pryor level. And they went out and completely outdid themselves, going out and getting Kelvin Benjamin. And my first thought, and it kind of can be contributed to my playing history of playing Madden, I suppose, where I kind of put trades together. I kind of put trades together as far as, moving forward. The trades that Brandon Beane has made thus far as the Buffalo Bills general manager, between the Rams trade, the Eagles trade, and now this trade with the Carolina Panthers. So I kind of, and obviously the Jacksonville Jaguars trade of the recent days, where the Bills sent Marcel Darius packing for a 6th-round pick that could potentially turn into a 5th-round pick. So the way I look at it is this. The Bills send Watkins, Darby, and Darius a 3rd-round selection and a 7th-round selection. And in exchange, they get Benjamin, Jordan Matthews, and E.J. Gaines. They also get a 2nd, 6th, and a 7th. So you traded three players that the past few years have considered themselves starters in terms of Watkins, Darby, and Darius, starting players on the Buffalo Bills. You trade those guys along with a third and a seventh to get a wide receiver 1, a wide receiver 2, a cornerback 2, a second-round draft choice, and a seventh-round draft choice. That, to me, is winning. That is winning. Brandon Beane going out, adding playmakers in Jordan Matthews, in Kelvin Benjamin, in E.J. Gaines, who is apparently, at the time last year with the Rams, Gaines was according to Pro Football Focus, which literally studies the position by position, E.J. Gaines was ranked as a low-rated corner. And he is fitting into this defense fantastic. He's doing a fantastic job, I should say. You know, he's not exactly healthy right now, but when healthy, Gaines is a key contributor to this Buffalo Bills defense, and I would refer to him as a cornerback too. Pairing off alongside Trey White. So the 6th-round pick can obviously turn into a 5th. We talked about, I mentioned that. But letting go of Darius, alleviating themselves of the cap problem that Marcel Darius was, alleviating themselves of the, lack of durability that Sammy Watkins had, and adding Kelvin Benjamin, Jordan Matthews, E.J. Gaines, and acquiring a second-round pick in the process, giving up a third and a 7th for Benjamin. That's a pretty good swing. To acquire Benjamin for a third and to get a second for Watkins, when in my humble opinion, Benjamin, since entering the National Football League, has been a better pro than Sammy Watkins. Much better pro. Had a dynamic rookie season, got hurt his sophomore year, injured his knee, but has definitely been a force on the outside for the Carolina Panthers, and if one man will miss him, it is definitely Cam Newton. So, wow, there is so much to be said about this trade that really fires me up. Not only is Kelvin Benjamin a player that is on the Buffalo Bills, but I also traded for him on my fantasy team today. Acquired him via trade along with Melvin Gordon, in which I sent picks for next year, a 3rd, a 6th, and a 10th, and acquired a 6th, 10th, and 6th, 11th, and 16th, and acquired Benjamin and Gordon, sending Curse and Derek Carr. My league is a little bit different. My buddy Tom 1-7. I felt the need to send him some picks next year. He couldn't keep Gordon, couldn't keep Benjamin, I should say. And I needed Gordon due to the fact that Zeke is suspended now. I don't want to have to rely on Darren McFadden or Alfred Morris. So that's a fantasy note for all the fantasy football listeners that listen to the podcast. But this trade definitely changes the dynamic of the Buffalo Bills. This gives the Buffalo Bills a real weapon on the outside. And in terms of durability, I don't think there's many durability questions with Kelvin Benjamin anymore. There's always that risk that any player could get hurt at any time. But when you're talking about Benjamin and his 6'5", 235-pound frame holding up in the cold, windy city of Buffalo, I don't think there will be any problems in that regard. This makes Tyrod Taylor better. This makes the entire offense better. That's the bottom line. And when I thought about just how this team reacted to it, in particular LaShawn McCoy saying, what a great way to celebrate Halloween. This is a move that really ignites the team. At 5-2, the momentum is high. We're going into a primetime matchup on Thursday night versus a divisional opponent. I don't know the status in which Benjamin will play or not. I'm hoping, as I alluded to earlier for my fantasy reasons, I'm hoping that Kelvin Benjamin does play. That would be great. But I truly believe that this is a guy that might not play his first week, but will definitely be a key contributor throughout the remainder of the season as a wide receiver 1 for the Buffalo Bills. I can't wait to watch this guy line up in the number 13 jersey for the Buffalo Bills. I am so excited. I cannot say enough how great of a move that this was, because next year Kelvin Benjamin has an $8.5 million option for his rookie deal, an option which I think the Bills would be more inclined to pick up, being that Benjamin, I think, will be a better fit in this particular offense in comparison to Sammy Watkins. And obviously Benjamin was definitely traded for, so the Bills want to keep, make do on their investment. But ultimately, I think the Bills are going to try to re-sign Kelvin Benjamin and avoid paying him the $8.5 million for 1 year, and try to pay him maybe $5 to $6 million over the span of 4 or 5 years, maybe even $7 million. We'll see, but it depends on how this pans out. It depends on what will happen in the near future. So I'm very excited. I know Bills fans are very excited as well. And I think that this will be a trade that people will remember. They'll look back on and say this was one of the trades that was the turning point in the Bills making the playoffs, whether it be this year, next year, or the year after that. They're most definitely heading in the right direction. I've stated that so many times, and it's crazy because even if they weren't 5-2, let's just say they were 2-5 and they made this trade. I don't think they would have been able to make moves like this if they were having an unsuccessful start to the season. But being that they're 5-2, that was a huge selling point for Kelvin Benjamin and for them to go out and make a move and strike while the iron is hot, so to speak. So that being said, where was I going with this? I am just thinking that at 5-2, this is a trade that should really rev the engines of the Bills Mafia. This is a trade that should rev the engines of the supporting cast at One Bills Drive, from the coaches to the players. And what I was alluding to earlier, the coaches, the culture of this team is slowly starting to change. I shouldn't say slowly, it's rapidly changing, day in and day out, week in and week out. And that is obviously contributed to the Mac Daddy, Sean McDermott. I really believe that this is his team, and this was a move that was agreed upon by Brandon Beane and Sean McDermott, who spent a few years around Kelvin Benjamin. They know what he's capable of, and this guy he's a monster. He's a beast. This guy gives the Bills a deep threat option that I truly believe will be a better option long-term in comparison to Sammy Watkins. So great news for the Buffalo Bills. I am so excited for this Thursday's game. I really hope Kelvin Benjamin suits up for the Bills. I'd love to see that 13 on the side of the field there, lining up on the left, going deep, and Tyrod Taylor being able to get him the ball. That is the big question mark. Can Tyrod Taylor get Kelvin Benjamin the ball? I certainly hope so. More importantly, there's no excuses now. Tyrod has a weapon. He's going to get Charles Clay back in the next couple weeks. We got Benjamin, Clay, Matthews, Zay Jones. Nick O'Leary has stepped up. LaShawn McCoy. I really like this offense. I think this offense just got that much better. It'll be like a two-player swing when the Bills get Charles Clay back. And Jordan Matthews is healthy. Zay Jones is coming into his own. So I think that the offense will only continue to get better. I want to know what your thoughts were initially on the trade. Do you think the Bills will have a tough time keeping Kelvin Benjamin? I do not think that'll be a problem, because the Bills do have a good amount of cap space to bring in Kelvin Benjamin for the long haul. So I'm Ryan Thomas. That was the Thomas Take. What a trade deadline it was, a very active trade deadline, and I did not anticipate Buffalo Bills making this trade. I am just shocked, blown away. I felt the need to go out a little bit and celebrate with a few friends, and wow, cannot wait for Thursday. Can't wait.